First and foremost, giving honor and praise to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. Giving double honors to 7130 South Chicago that taught me this truth. And giving double honors to all the brothers and sisters that the Creator has awoken in these last days. With that being said, peace and shalom. Alright, we're going to be going into, some street teaching. We're going to be talking about prophecy. We're going to be talking about current events, things that's taking place on the world stage, right? Because, a lot of these folks out here, man, that's walking around, they don't understand that they are already in what you would call World War III. See, World War III has already started. And, I'm reading this book by Ann Jacobs, and the book is entitled Nuclear War. And she gives a, she gives a deep account of what's going to happen. What is going to transpire, if a nuclear bomb hit this country. And, if a nuclear bomb hit this country, you're going to go through different stages of events that's going to take place. And one of the stages of events that's going to take place is that if a nuclear bomb hit this country, it's going to start out as what you would call a fireball, right? And she was saying that the heat is so tremendous that it's almost as hot as the sun, see? And while this ball is moving, the heat is so tremendous that it's gonna be burning up everything that's around it. See, it's gonna be burning up people. It's gonna be burning up houses, a lot of things. And while it's consuming all of this stuff, the fireball is gonna get bigger and bigger. See, it's gonna get bigger and bigger. And as it's getting bigger and bigger, it's gonna consume a lot of stuff. And they said that, I think it's like, she gave an estimate. She said that the ball is like about 80 million degrees or something like that, 80 million degrees hot. That's how hot it is. And she was saying that it's so hot, it's almost as hot as the sun, see? And it's going to be consuming everything. And basically when it's consuming, that's another way for it to say that it's going to be feeding, see? It's going to be eating up everything. And a lot of these people, they're going to be turned into what she will refer to as combustible carbon, see? And combustible carbon ain't nothing but another form of what you would call ash, see? It's going to consume houses. It's going to make the ground melt. See, this how tremendous this situation is going to be, right? And what people don't really understand is that that's really the judgment of the Creator. See, matter of fact, let's get into it because we don't want to be just talking. We're in the book of Amos, the 15th chapter, and the 18th verse. It says, "Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord, to what end is for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light." See, because, in these churches, we've been led to believe that when the Lord comes back, it's going to come, he coming back for, the Christians or the Muslims say that the Lord, Allah, is coming back for them. Or the Jews say that Elohim or Hashem is coming back for them, see? right? And that every battle that they may win, rather small or great, they attribute that to quote unquote the Lord. See, and it ain't just them, it's all these nations. All these nations believe that they got the true and ever living God. But see, the Creator says what? Woe unto you that desire to see the Lord. See, because when the Lord comes, he's not coming, he's coming, it's going to be darkness unto you, and it's not going to be light. See, meaning that what? It's going to be a world of tribulation. You know what I'm saying? So when the Creator is coming, he ain't coming just to, grab hands and, all this type of stuff. So when these nuclear bombs hit the earth, really, that is the Lord, see? It's because that's the Lord's judgment to the whole world, see? And that's why it behooves us in these days that we have to develop a personal relationship with the Creator for ourselves. Because, in that book, she goes into nuclear war and how tremendous it is. And she was saying that once the fire leaves, then the earth is going to go into a situation where it's going to freeze. See, and you got some people like over there in Europe, they're going to be frozen for like hundreds of years, maybe 10,000 years. She just giving a rough estimate about 10,000 years.
Right.
Certain parts of the world is going to be it's going to be in ice, and then you're going to have people. They're going to be still around, but see, a lot of those people, they're going to be devastated, man, because she called it after the fire dissipates, right? The world is going to go into what you would call nuclear winter, where everything is going to be in ice. See, it's going to be what you would call another ice age, but that's going to happen in certain parts of Europe. See, that's going to happen in certain parts. I wouldn't even say certain parts of Europe. Also, it's going to happen in certain aspects of the world. But see, she picked Europe is because Europe is a cold climate. So you're going to have people that's going to be in ice for thousands of years. See, they're going to be in ice. And then you're going to have people, they're going to be fighting for a little amount of resources. Then you're going to have certain people, because like I say, this situation it's going to be in different stages, right? You're going to have the fire stage, and then you're going to have the poison stage, because certain aspects of the country is going to be frozen in ice, and then certain aspects of the country it's going to be poisonous, where, people is not going to be able to, live on in those regions. They're going to be what? They're going to be poisoned to death. Because this stuff that's in the nuclear bombs, what they're going to be unleashing on the people, they're going to be unleashing poison on the people. So you're going to have, quote unquote, the poisonous stage where people, they're going to be poisoned by the effects of those nuclear bombs. And she was saying, she called it nuclear radiation. And she talked about, I forgot the guy's name, but she was talking about a guy that got exposed to the nuclear radiation, and basically his whole insides turned into mush. and you know, his skin started to peel, all that type of stuff, right? So these things is going to happen to the people, certain parts of the earth, when the situation happens. And you know, you got a lot of people, right? They thinking that they're going to live underground and stuff like that. Some people are going to be able to live underground, but you got some people, they're not going to be able to live underground, even though they may have what you would call nuclear bunkers. They not going to be able to live under theirs because they're going to be affected by the poison. See, they're going to be affected by that poison. Because I don't care how far you dig underground, you can't stop the poisonous air that's going to come down there. See. So we're looking at the book of Amos. It says, "Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord, and what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light." See? So you know, you got a lot of these people, they thinking that God gonna come out the sky and he gonna be riding down on the cloud. See? But see, in actuality, the Lord is already here. See, the Lord is already here. And this is why the country, this is why the people is at war with each other. Before a kingdom falls, it first got to fall from within, see? So the kingdom got to crumble within. So when we're looking at the Gentile world power system, right, we're looking at a fall of a kingdom, see? We're looking at the fall of a kingdom. See, these folks, the Creator got them doing what? They done basically lost their mind in the system. But really the only people that's gonna be saved is the remnant. See, that's who gonna be saved. See, a lot of these folks that's running around here, they not gonna be saved, you know, contrary to popular belief, when people say that the only people that's going to be saved is the Christians. Now, I'm watching some old videos from the 1970s and the 1980s. It's called The Image of the Beast. If you see this video, it's a good video, right? A good movie. Because, you know, it talks about what I'm saying. Because, see, the Christians, they think that as long as they believe on Jesus, that they're going to be saved, see? And what is that? That's the trick of the enemy, see? Because those same Christians that's quote-unquote in the movie, they talking about how you got to give yourself over to Christ and all this type of stuff. These are the same people that was committing genocide on so-called black people, see? This is what they was doing. These are the same people that separated themselves from black people, and they set up scenarios that people don't really know about, how they destabilize the black community. So that's why the Creator says what? Woe unto you that desire to see the Lord, see? And then they push their religion by what? By force. See, they force people to be in these religions. So in the movie, they talk about how, quote unquote, if you take the mark of the beast and all this type of stuff, people was being beheaded because they didn't want to take on the mark of the beast. But the mark of the beast is not a chip, see? It's the philosophy and teaching of the Gentile world power system. And now that I really look at it, that's not even what the 13th chapter of the book of Revelation is even talking about. So anybody that's pushing that logic, and I'm not saying that they're not going to bring out new technology and stuff. That's technology, right? But that's not the mark of the beast, brothers and sisters. See? The mark of the beast is the philosophy and teaching of the adversary. See, that's what the mark of the beast. And who is the beast? See, that's the Catholic Church. See, the Catholic Church is the modern day Babylonian mystery system. It's because all of these religions, Whether you want to deal with Christianity, you want to deal with Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, all these isms, all of these pantheons, they all got their situation from Nimrod. That's where they got it from. So when we looking at this, man, that's why the Creator said, woe unto you. And woe means destruction, see? So what is the Creator saying? What? Destruction unto you that seek to see me in these last days, because, you know, it's just like prison. I always bring up the prison scenario. In order for you to truly get out of prison, you got to do what? You got to take accountability for what you have done throughout history. See, you got to take accountability. And the so-called white man, he don't want to take accountability. You got the black man talking about reparations. He don't want to give it, see? Because he's saying all of those people died off. Why should I give you reparations? You should give reparations because why? We the descendants of those people. You dehumanize our neighborhoods. The black man's neighborhood is dehumanized because of the Caucasians and everybody else that's coming over there, right, reaping the benefits. See, let me tell you something about economics in the neighborhood, right? If you got people that's coming over, just like this store I'm standing by, Macy's, right? Now, Macy's come to the black community. Black people patronizing in their stores, things of this nature, right? They take all the wealth out of the community and they don't put back nothing. They don't put back schools. They don't try to build up businesses for so-called blacks so they can be able to reap the benefits as well, right? And you know what's going to happen to the community? It's going to fall, see? You always going to have crime. It's because if a person is not, if a neighborhood is starving and it need resources, then what's going to happen? You're going to have people out, they're going to be robbing and stealing. And this is what the Caucasian, this is what he has done to the so-called black community, see? And then they sit back and act like, they see, it's just like a rat, it's just like a experiment. When you experiment on rats, right? You set up obstacles and things of this nature, and you know exactly what's going to happen because you done set up the play, right? So what's happening in the so-called black community? They done empowered these people that look like so-called black people, but in actuality, they agents. They working with the so-called white man to destroy our community. So, and then they talk about all this Christianity stuff, see? That, you know, so that's why the Creator says what? Woe unto you, see, that desire to see the Lord in the last days, because why? When I come to you, I'm coming to you what? I'm going to come to you with death and destruction. That's how I'm coming. Because why? You're a hypocrite, man. Most of these, man, these people that's in power, these people that live, you know, a lot of these they hypocrites, man. And we have shows like Tariq Nasheed's show. He give you a perfect example of the behavior of certain these nations. See, they look down on you, see? So we coming out here week in and week out, man. We ain't giving out roses, see? We telling the people what's finna happen in these last days, man. That's why you gotta do what? You gotta repent, man. And I ain't saying it for myself like I'm perfect, because no one's perfect. Perfection is gonna start when we build the kingdom. But the so-called black man, he gotta return back to what? His ancient ancestral cultural roots. That's why he gotta return back to. And see, once he really understands who he is, then he can understand who everybody else is. The problem with us as a people is that we don't understand who we are. So in our inability to understand who we are, we don't understand who everybody else is. See? And one thing we got to understand, man, you do have enemies out here. You got people out here, their whole purpose is to make sure that you at a certain type of level. See, the whole world is in the matrix. See, that's what's going on. The whole world is in the matrix, man. So when you come out the matrix, I'm talking about the so-called Negro, but what is his matrix? His matrix is that what? His nationality was taken away from him, see? He don't understand who he is from a nationalistic standpoint of view, see? So when we talking about this, see, he's still in the matrix. He's thinking that Christianity, Islam, or Judaism is something of the Creator, see? And he's caught up in the middle of that stuff too. And as a result, he's teaching millions of people to follow after these different pantheons, right? So let's look at something. Let's turn to the book of Isaiah 56. See, you know, this to these false teachers out here, man. Because see, you got a lot of false teachers out here. See, they come as wolves in sheep clothing. See, it says what? His watchmen are blind; they are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs; they cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving the slumber. See. That's what's going on with our community. See, we slumber. See, we're in the situation of slumber. And then you have a lot of the leadership in the community. What they doing? They lullabying the people to sleep. See, telling people it's okay to celebrate Christmas. It's okay to celebrate Easter. See, when we talk about Easter, they said that what? That the Lord rose on what you would call Easter Sunday or the Resurrection Day. That's false, brothers and sisters. Do you understand that you can't even get 3 days and 3 nights out of that? Because you got to deal with 3 dark periods and 3 light periods. See? So how you going to get 3 days and 3 nights out of that? But this is what the Christian church, this is what they teach. See? They teach how people follow. So the message says his watchmen are blind dogs. It says these watchmen are blind, they are all ignorant. See, a lot of our people is ignorant, man. We're ignorant to religion, we're ignorant to politics, and we're ignorant to social living, man. See? We all ignorant. And the reason why we're ignorant is because of what? Because of the slave experience that we took part in. See? So when I'm watching that movie, that movie is nothing. It ain't nothing but hypocrisy, man. You know, it's good to look at. You know, it's interesting because even in hypocrisy, you can glean something out of that, right? But the true saints or the true anointed ones, that's the nation of Israel. See, they the true anointed ones. See, the Creator dealing with them. They not dealing with these other nations. The only situation that these nations have to the nation of Israel, the only way that these nations is gonna be saved is that they got to come into the knowledge that the so-called black man that you've been dehumanizing is of the nation of Israel. That's the only way that you're going to be saved, see? So when the Creator is saying what? All of my, the watchmen It's because the watchmen, that's Israel. See, they blind. See, they blind of nationality. They blind of their God. See, they blind to all these different religions. You know, in 2025, right, the so-called black man is doing marvelous things in the earth, even though he don't have a true understanding about what's going on. He's doing a lot of remarkable things. But check this out. In 2005, the so-called black man is still calling himself a Negro. See? He calling himself a Negro, he's calling himself an African American. When you dealing on that type of level, you still look at yourself as a nigga. And we so blind and ignorant that we have, how can I say, we have made the word nigga a thing of endearment, see? We reverencing that type of behavior. So when we talking about the watchman is supposed to be our people. That ain't the Jehovah's Witnesses, see? The Jehovah's Witnesses is not the watchmen. They're an offshoot of Christianity. Even though they may keep the Sabbath, they still a pagan religion. So it says his watchmen are blind, they are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs, they cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. See? Even in politics, we love to latch on to the so-called white man. We've been destroyed so much, and then, you know, Tariq Nasheed, he brought out the fact that you got what you would call tethers, because you know the definition of a tether is something that latches on. So you got a lot of these so-called black folks, they still are people, but they come from different aspects. So they may come from Haiti, they may come from Jamaica. So they use these people to do what? To lullaby people to sleep. See, that's what they do. So I found out that old boy is he's from, I think he's Haitian. Roland Martin. See, I think he comes from the Caribbean. Right? So the Democrats use a lot of these people from other, because they still are people. They just look at themselves as Haitians, Jamaicans, but if you came from off that boat, you still the nation of Israel, see? So you got a lot of them, they use our people against their own people. And it ain't just the Haitians that are tethers. You got quote unquote black people that's been living here. They tethers. Because we condition our people to take on a different type of, a certain type of mindset. A man today that's talking about the Christian religion is the religion of the Creator, man, you blind and you ignorant, see? If you running around here talking about Islam is the way of the Lord, you blind and you ignorant, see? Or, you know, you following Judaism, talking about the nation of Israel was the real Jews, you ignorant because you don't know no better, see? So it says, yeah, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough. They are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone for his gain from his quarter. See, let me read that again. It says, yea, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough. They are shepherds that cannot understand. See, Roland Martin, Jesse Jack, a lot of these people are what? They greedy dogs, man. See? They greedy dogs that can't have enough. You know, they get $1 million, they want 2 million. See? And look here, that shows you that a lot of these black people, they don't care about you, man. A lot of these people that's in the community, they don't care about you. And that's why the Creator's saying what? Woe unto you that desire the day to see the Lord. See? Because when the Lord comes, he's going to do what? He's going to destroy a lot of these folks, man. Because you got a lot of these folks, they done took on the mentality of the so-called white man. Jesse Jackson, Roland Martin, all of these black politicians, these white politicians, they talking about all this love and all this type of stuff, but look what they doing in the earth, man. They go around the earth pillaging folks, man. Stealing the natural resource. 1 second. They come around, they go around the world through their religion, pillaging folks, man. You had a Caucasian, Brian Shadour. I hope I never forget that name, man. Brian Shadour. He's on television talking about in order for black people to come into their organization of Christianity, that they got to denounce the black culture. Because he said that the black culture is rooted in child molestation, it's rooted and killing, right? It's rooted in fathers not being responsible for their kids. And he said some other things, but we just gonna talk about those 3 things that he said, right? So let's look at this, right? So black people is rooted and killing, right? Right? But here it is, the white man done went all over the earth, robbing, stealing, and killing. Now, when the so-called white man came into the knowledge when the Creator gave him the knowledge, because that's where he got it from, the Creator gave him the knowledge to deal with atomic energy. What did he do with atomic energy? He created a bomb, see? When he came into the knowledge to deal with atomic energy, what was one of the things that he did? He created a bomb. He used a bomb with it. And he didn't just use one bomb. He didn't just create one bomb. He created what? Thousands of bombs. And a lot of these folks were Christians and Jews that was doing that. I believe that Oppenheimer, I think that he was a Jew, right? But a lot of these folks that built atomic bombs and things of this nature, they were so-called white people, and they followed the religion of Judaism and Christianity. They were what you would call Judo-Christians. So how in the world you gonna sit up here and say black people, in order for them to come into your church, they gotta denounce black culture. That black culture is rooted in quote unquote killing and stealing and all this type of stuff. How did the so-called white man get this land? He got this land by theft and robbery. See? That's how he got the land. He got the land through robbery and theft. See? That's how he got it. You say what now? No, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? That's how they got the land. They got the land through theft. When they came over to America, they saw the indigenous black people that was living over here, and they took the land from them. And they've been doing that for ever since. What you think that the war over there in Ukraine is about? The war over there in Ukraine is about land taking. They want to come over there and use the Ukrainians as a battle axe to steal the land from Russia. That's why the war over there in Ukraine is really going on, is because the Ukrainians say that they want to be sovereign. They want to join NATO and stuff like that. They want to be a part of the European Union. But the United States is doing what? They want to build military forces on the land of Russia. That's why the war started. So, what is this crap they're talking about when he say this? That's the hypocrisy. But then you got the black Christians with their stupid self. They sitting up here talking about, see, this is not the representation of Christianity. It is. It's because your grandmama, your uncles and aunties, and a lot of those people that got off those boats, they was forced to become Christians. What are you talking about? See, what is you talking about? That is Christianity. Christianity is rooted in what? Theft, robbery, and killing. And then we talking about child molestation. Yeah, you got child molestation in all nationalities. But the white man, let me tell you something. The white man set up breeding grounds. They was breeding us like puppies. That's what they was doing. They was selling us to different plantations. They had black women and black men breeding like dogs. Having kids, selling the kids in different plantations. They was, they was buck breaking us. One of the ways to dehumanize a black man was to break him by doing what? By raping him. See? And that's like 100 and something. That's not too long ago. So what is my man talking about that we rooted in molestation, killing, and stealing? You know what I'm saying? They done killed millions of people. They done killed millions of their own people. So this is what I'm saying when we talk about the hypocrisy of these nations, man. This is why the Creator's gonna get these fools, man. See? This is why the Creator's gonna get these fools. That's why the Creator said what? Woe unto you that desire to see the Lord. See? We're seeing the Lord right now, man. The Lord is coming back with what? Death and destruction, man. That's why you see death and destruction and chaos all over the place. America is almost $40 trillion in debt. Come on, man. What are we talking about? We looking at the breaking and the dismantling of the system. That's why I'm saying a lot of these people that's out here, they don't even understand what they're involved in, man. World War III has already started. Let's turn to Jeremiah, the 16th chapter. Jeremiah 16:16 says, behold, I will send for many fishers. And when it's talking about the fishers, Who is that? See, that's really the nation of Israel preaching what? The gospel of the kingdom, see? Because why? They got to do what? They got to become fishers of men, see? They're going to be fishing the elect that the Creator's going to save in these last days, right? So this is the Creator doing what? He's giving humanity an opportunity to do what? To return back to Him. He's gonna start with the nation of Israel, and then what? He's going to finish out with these other nations. See? Because you know that's false teaching to sit up here and talk about that the Gentiles are Israelite foreigners. No, they not. See? Because they too is going to hear the gospel and the word of the Creator. Right? So it says, behold, I will send for many fishers, saith the Lord, and they shall fish them. And after I will send for many hunters. And what does that mean? See? When the gospel of the kingdom is preached, and the Creator remove His people off the scene, what's going to happen? This system is going to be destroyed. See? And what is the hunters? The hunters are the nations that the Creator is going to raise up to do what? To wreak destruction on the country, man. See, this soil that we on today is going to be utterly destroyed, man. A lot of these folks is going to be turned into ashes. See, this is what Noah was talking about in his day when he was building the ark. See, when he built the ark from dry land, the people thought that he was crazy, man. See, he built a physical ark, but the ark that we building today is what? It's going to be spiritual, man. So it says, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill, and out of the holes of the rocks, man. So, and what is the way that they're going to be hunting? See, they're not going to physically be hunting people. How you go hunt rats and roaches? We dealing in a different time now. They're going to use those nuclear weapons, man. They're going to use those nuclear weapons. What you think they build them for? They build them because they look good. They're going to use those weapons. And we see the glimpse of that Hiroshima, Nagasaki in the Vietnam War. See? They use those weapons on them people. The people today are still dealing with Agent Orange poison today, man. They suffering. Because, see, they went over there and they tried to do what? They tried to gangster somebody else's land, and them people started fighting against them. And when they was losing the war, what did they do? They unleashed poison on the people. See, that's what happened. You had all those Asians, they was over there dying, right? Because they used that chemical warfare, man. So the same thing is going to happen to the so-called white man that's in power today. See? They're going to use chemical warfare on him, see? And the one that's standing at the head of the situation is who? That's America. See, she sit at the foot of all these nations that's in power. See? And when let's read that over. It says, behold, I will send for many fishers, saith the Lord, and they shall fish them. And after I will send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill. See? And what is that? That's destruction, man. That's why the Creator says what? Woe unto you in these last days. Because that desire to see the Lord, see? Because a lot of people, they're going to desire to see the Lord in these last days, and they're going to see what? They're going to see death and destruction, man. Chaos and confusion. A lot of these Christians ain't going to be saved, man. Look how much blood is on their hand, man. And then they turn around and write treaties. They write treaties, right? They'll write a treaty and say, we're not going to do this, but they turn around and do something else. They turn around and do something else. Let's look at this, man. Let's turn to Jeremiah 8:20. So, we got, you got a lot of people on the streets. They telling these folks what's finna happen. They don't want to listen. See? They don't want to listen. And like I say, in order for you to really, truly be a man got to do what? He got to accept what he has done in the past, man. That's how you're going to move forward and move to the future. So, you have people like Tariq Nasheed, he on there talking to these nations. They mad because black people don't want to deal with them no more. Because they see a lot of the underhanded stuff that they doing. A lot of these Ethiopians, these Haitians, all these folks. Then they feel some type of way, and then the true colors come out. Well, y'all came over here on slave ships, so what? It don't matter. See? It don't matter. And see, a lot of them folks, man, they gonna be destroyed, man, because the people that you talking about like that is of who? Of the tribe of Abraham, Isaac. That's the nation of Israel that you talking to like that. How you doing, sister? See, that's who you talking to. You ask they talk about reparations. You can't have reparations. You know what's reparations for you? Public aid. See, what is that? That's pride, man. See, a lot of these folks got pride. How in the world reparations is public aid and the white man is getting public aid? They say that white people get more public aid than so-called black people. If it's if public aid is reparations for the so-called black man, then for the black woman, then why the black man ain't getting it? Why he can't have $1,000 a month? That's why the Most High said what? He told Nebuchadnezzar that, look, all you got to do is give to the poor. And I'll do what? I will strengthen your days, man. So who is the modern day Nebuchadnezzar today? It's the so-called white race, man. They don't want to really give to the poor. They don't want to pay reparations. It's because if you pay reparations, then what does that mean? That means that what? That your people is complicit in the destruction and terror of so-called black people. See? And you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. You could give the so-called black people $10,000 a month for the rest of their life. They're going to be good with it. You don't want to get that. See? But you turn around and gave Argentina $85 billion. You giving Ukraine billions of dollars. And then you turn around and lie and say, well, if we give you $1 trillion, $20 trillion, then the economy is going to fall. How in the hell the economy is going to fall? Black people ain't really talking about true money because true money is natural resources, right? We know this. He's talking about paper money, fiat currency. You print money every day, so how the economy is going to fall? You print money. What is that? That's technology. See? That's why the Creator, let's look at this. This is Jeremiah 8:20. It says the harvest is past. And what is the harvest? The harvest is what we would call the resurrection, man. I mean, not resurrection, but it's really the second Exodus, but I'm trying to get a word for it. The rapture. When we talk about the rapture is really the second Exodus. So when it says the harvest is past, that's talking about what? What they would call today is the rapture. See? It's because if you're a farmer, just like we finna go into the dead of winter, right? We finna go into winter. So before you start, before the winter start, you gotta do what? You gotta pick up your crops. You know what I'm saying? Because if you leave all the crops out there, then when it starts snowing, then it's gonna do everything gonna turn into ice. It's gonna die out. So it says the harvest is past and the summer is ended, and we are not saved. See? And what is the Creator saying? He's talking about the gospel, man. The gospel of the kingdom. See? You're going to have a lot of people, they're going to be thinking that they following the Creator, but they're not going to be saved, man. They're not going to be saved. They're going to be left out here. This is what we're talking about today, man. A lot of these folks that's running around here today, man, they're going to be destroyed, man. It's because they don't know who the God of Abraham is, man. They don't know that. And that's why it's our job to come out here and tell the people what's finna take place, man. That they got to return back to the Creator. That's why he says what? The harvest is past, the summer is ended, and we are not saved. See? Saved from what? Saved from the destruction that's going to take place, y'all. And why is some of the fruit going to be left out? It's because why? It's no good, man. It's no good. When you going through the harvest, you picking up stuff, a lot of fruit is gonna be spoiled. And what is the spoiled fruit? The spoiled fruit is the false gospel that's going out here, that's being preached out here in the earth, man. They telling people, man, that you're gonna be raptured up into the air. That's not true. See? That's not the Old Testament. Because if the nation of Israel is walking around with Bibles and stuff like that, they're going to be dealing with the Old Testament. The New Testament is not even written then. So how they going to be caught up in the air? So now the people don't even understand symbolism. They don't even understand symbolism. They can't even read history from a symbolic standpoint of view. Figurative language couched in historical symbolism. They don't even understand that. But they the anointed ones? See, that don't even make no sense. That don't make no sense. So that's why the Creator saying what? The harvest is past and summer has ended. And what? We are not saved, man. So really, the people that's gonna be saved is what? Is the remnant. See, that's who's gonna be saved in these last days. The remnant. That's the nation of Israel, man, and the nations that have attached them, that tether themselves unto the nation of Israel. That's who's gonna be saved. I don't care who you is. Okay? Let's look at this, right? It's the book of Isaiah 45 and verse 9. It says, woe unto him that striveth with his maker. See, if you making nuclear bombs, you striving with your maker. If you practicing all these little acts out here, you striving with your creator, man. See? You running around here taking people's natural resources, you striving against the creator. So it says, woe unto him that striveth against his maker. Let the prostrate strive with the prostrate of the earth. Shall the clay say to him that fashioned it, what makest thou? Or thy work, he hath no hands. That's the mentality of the people. See? They striving against the creator, man. These people they don't care about the Most High. How you gonna care about the creator and you poisoning the food? You done poisoned the air. The air is poison. The food is poison. See? Our mentality is poison because the people is following after the king. And who is the king? It's the elites that's running the world today, man. They the kings of the earth. You feel me? It says, woe unto him that saith unto his father, who begettest thou? See? Come on now. You got a lot of these guys out here, they don't even believe in the creator. They atheists. They believe that, I don't know what they talking about. My mama is my God. Well, who made her father? They don't even believe in the creator, man. They don't even believe in the creator. It says, woe unto him that saith unto his father, who begettest thou? Or to the woman, what hast thou brought forth? See, you got a lot of these folks, man, they don't even respect their parents, man. They disrespect their parents. Actions and deeds, man. See, they disrespect their parents out here. They don't care about their parents. Check this out, the 19th chapter of the book of Isaiah, right? It says, the burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and says, it shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And who are the modern day Egyptians? See, who is the modern day Egyptians? That's the so-called white race, man. See? Because they're the ones that's ruling everything today. So-called black man ain't ruling nothing. What he ruling? He don't even rule his household. You know what I'm saying? So you got the Egyptians fighting against the Egyptians. And who is the modern day Egyptian? It's the Democrats. It's the Republicans. See? It's all these armies that's going against each other. From a religious, social, and a political standpoint of view. The nations, they fighting against each other. City against city and kingdom against kingdom. That's why Russia is fighting against Ukraine. America is fighting against everybody. So with that being said, brothers and sisters, I hope that we got something out of the lesson. And next time we're gonna go a little bit longer, man. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, death to America.